Philadelphia Eagles. Is this the worst matchup they could have had in the first round?
Yes, it's the worst matchup. The whole offensive line rested. The receivers rested. The quarterback, the running back. You're going to get a very rested. Everybody took the week off to get ready for this game. You're going to see the Eagles fully rested. I mean, it's just going to be tough. And, to lose Taylor Bethune like that last week, like they're just so shorthanded that even the Eagles offense has a chance to kind of like get kick-started in this game.
And he's joining us on the River Islands guest line, Brian Baldinger, presented by our proud partner, Golden State Lumber and Showroom, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. Building better starts with Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit goldenstatelumber.com. Baldy, Happy New Year to you, Spadoni and Shasky, and we'll just bring you right into the conversation we were having. Yesterday, we took a lot of calls, a lot of disappointed 49er fans, very upset about that Saturday night loss, obviously. I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, we really didn't talk about the quarterback. We did not really mention Brock Purdy in an offense that scored just 3 points. Why do you think that is? Do you think the fans are giving Brock Purdy a pass for his performance on Saturday? And is that fair, Baldy?
You know what's wild is Brock Purdy actually played great. He played great, and they scored 3 points, which means Seattle's defense is just it's just a bad matchup. If McCaffrey doesn't have that ball go through his hands at the goal line, they probably score a touchdown right there. Maybe it's a different game. Come down the field. They had one play of 20 yards to Kittle. Like there's no holes to get the ball. I mean, he's making all the right reads. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. That's the best defense. I mean, Houston's good, but what they do is they're different than Houston in that they sit back in this cover 2 shell. You could run all the motions and shifts you want. They just sit there. They just let you do all your things. And then they match you up. And the ball it's almost impossible to get the ball over their heads. And so there is maybe Pearsall, if he was out there, maybe they find a way to get the ball. Maybe if Trent's there, they have an extra tick to get the ball down the field, whatever. But they're very difficult to penetrate. I saw them live the week before against Carolina, and Bryce Young looked like he didn't belong in this league. There's no place to go with the ball. And so you have to – and then if you want to try to run it, okay, 2 yards of first down isn't a great play. But that's what they were getting on first down, 2 yards, because their front is so good, and they just stack you up. They're so disciplined in how they play. And it's amazing to watch. But to answer your question, Joe, I thought Brock played great. He didn't make mistakes. He made the right reads. They force you to hold the ball. It's just a long, hard day.
Yeah, Baldy, I was sitting up in the end zone and I'm watching it, and to your point, like I felt like they were just in a box and they were daring them to beat them over the top. Seattle was, and they wrap up so well. This young safety that they took in the second round, quite frankly, looks like a superstar. I mean, he's moving around like Earl Thomas and hitting like Cam Chancellor. And that's what he looked like out there to me.
Except that he's 6'4", and he's 220 pounds.
He's a monster. Kittle couldn't break a tackle.
Yeah. He's their Kyle Hamilton. He's Kyle Hamilton.
Well, I guess let me ask you. I mean, our safety plays so bad, and I watch their safety play, and I say, that kid looks like a superstar to me, Baldy. I mean, he legitimately looks like a superstar.
No, it's like the Golden State Warriors when they were playing positionless basketball. Like what position is he? You can line him up anywhere. He's a blitzer. He's a cover guy. He can just sit there and close. And then if you add Tyreek Woolen, he ran a 4.25 40 out of UTSA. Like you watch that guy close and suck up, guys with the ball. And then Witherspoon, I mean, their speed and their hitting ability is second to none in this whole business.
How much did they miss? I mean, I hate saying the name, but like Brandon Aiyuk. How much did they miss Ricky Pearsall? Someone that could, take the top off the defense and beat some man coverage here. They really don't have these threats that they need on the outside, it feels like, to kind of bend the defense. Did the film show you that as well?
Yeah, I mean, they don't play a ton of man. They will get to it. But they match you. They literally sit. They just sit on top of you, match up your route combinations, And then as soon as the ball's in the air, they just close. And maybe on 3rd and 7, you catch a ball at 3 yards and they give you 5 and it's 4th and 2. Like they just it's just hard to like, okay, we're going to play action pass, we're going to max protect, we're going to run the speedo route combination against you, and we'll wait to get the ball down the field. We'll have extra protection. Well, the safety's already lined up 12 yards deep. And nothing, like you had a play, you remember this one, Joe, there was 4th and 1. 4th and 1, and they didn't make it, right? Those safeties were 10 yards deep on 4th and 1. Like most safeties are like, they're just like, okay, they're going to run it here. We're just going to get another hat in the box. Like they just sat back there going, okay, if they want to like play action here and try to get one over the top on us, you're not going to do it to them. You know, it's just kind of amazing to watch the formula that they have.
That play was very interesting to me because Purdy scrambled on 3rd and 11, and he was short of the sticks, and it looked like Mike McDonald. Again, I'm up in the stands, and then I rewatched the game, and it looked like to me Mike McDonald threw the challenge flag. I go, oh, he's challenging the spot of the field. Then he's calling timeout, and the Niners looked like they were going to be in a shotgun on whatever that was, 4th and 1, 1.5. Then they went to more of a bunch formation. Did you like the call from Kyle? Like, what did you think of that? Because that seemed like a huge momentum play on offense for the Niners.
It was, but, you want to throw it against them. I mean, there was no place to go with the ball. So, what was, line up in I formation, try to knock Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy off the ball. I don't think that was in the game plan, against that front. They're the best in the league against the run right now. And so, they try to find a route combination to beat it, and they just sat on it. There was no place to go.
Brian Baldinger joining us here on the Morning Roast, courtesy of the River Islands guest line, our Odyssey NFL insider. Baldy, like in hindsight, like is there anything Kyle could have done game plan wise going up against that team? That like, do you just start throwing it early? Like they abandoned the run pretty quickly. Like, and you heard it from him after the game. Like, yeah, they just stymied our run game, but. You tell it to a Niner fan, like all year when they played a good defense, they haven't been able to run the ball, right? So just the game plan itself, maybe, I don't know. Like it's always hindsight's 20/20. Could they have done anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, they tried to run it, but their first down runs were terrible. They couldn't crease them. And so, I mean, could they have stayed with it longer? Well, the score was, within reach where he could have stayed with it, maybe warmed down a little bit. But, I mean, that's who they are. Like, you're gonna try and move those monsters up front right now. They did the same thing to Carolina the week before. They're a pretty good running football team. The short passing game, sometimes can be good, but they don't miss tackles. 3rd and 5s, and you're throwing it like, okay, you get 3 yards on a flat. Well, they're coming full speed, and you're not gonna turn that 3-yard route into a 7-yard route in a first down. Yeah, that was sort of what they were looking to do, and it just wasn't there. Like, if they would play each other again, I'm sure there will be a different game plan. But you're going to see Seattle play like that when they get a chance to play. In the divisional round, you're going to see a similar style of defense. They might even be better because they're going to be rested. But they're a conundrum right now that nearly nobody's been able to figure out. Even when they won 10 games last year and they didn't really have a good quarterback play, they still won 10 games. They were still a force, and it was coming on. You could see that they were learning the defense. It took a while in Baltimore. In Baltimore, Mike McDonald's year there, they led the league in sacks and they led the league in takeaways. Like this formula that they have, once they get the right players, is legit. And it's real.
Baldy, last one on this game before we start to preview the Eagles. There's 4:33 in the game. It's 3rd and 2. Purdy throws that little out to Demarcus Robinson, and Aikman's saying, hey, he's a little late on the throw. He climbed a couple 2 steps, but Witherspoon made a hell of a tackle. They're forced to punt. Okay, it's still 10-3. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Darnold goes to hand the ball off. He gets tripped and falls because the lineman stepped on him. Ball goes through Yetur Gross-Matos' hands. They don't make a play. It eventually goes to 3rd and 17, and there's the toss play. Yeah. And I got the sense that the Niners on this particular drive, not that they gave up, that's not fair, but They just couldn't tackle a soul. They couldn't shed blocks. They were filling the wrong gaps. And that 3rd and 17 play felt like it epitomized a team that completely ran out of gas and ended up with 18 missed tackles in that game. What did the 3rd and 17 tell you? And they eventually went on to kick a field goal.
Well, you remember the cutaway as soon as that happened to John Lynch. Remember the cutaway to John?
Oh, my God.
Like John just threw his head in his hands. They ran a toss crack, all right? They got a good crackback block. They're just running it to see how many yards they can get and then to punt. That's all they're trying to do. But, they played very loose. Safeties were back. Everybody was kind of playing loose. And it's not that they gave up, but, Seattle executed the play. And Kenneth Walker's a hard guy to get to the ground to begin with. But I think he was the runner on the play. I don't think it was Charbonnet. I think it was Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
But, you go out there and you beat them on 3rd and 17. You've got them right where you want them. And they're just running to see if they can get 8 yards or 10 yards to punt the ball away. And, you get the first down, they get the field goal. It's a 2-score game. There was a look, in literature, they call that the denouement. Like the result has been revealed at that point. The denouement of the game was right there on that play.
Brian Shakespeare joining us here on the Morning Roast, Odyssey NFL Insider. And this hour is brought to you by Fremont Bank, which is here for you and here for good. I love that. All right, Baldy. We go from potentially the number 1 overall seed and having home field through the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers to maybe the worst scenario for Niner fans, going on the road against the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. Is this the worst matchup they could have had in the first round?
Yes, it's the worst matchup. It's a 4:30 game on Sunday. The crowd will be juiced out of their minds. I was just there on Sunday doing the game against Washington. There's people in the building, in the Eagles building, that were pissed that they sat all their key starters to be ready for this game. So the whole offensive line rested. The receivers rested, the quarterback, the running back. You're going to get a very rested. Jalen Carter is rested. Like he told me, he's healthy. His shoulder's been bothering him all year. He had some procedures done. Jalen Phillips rested. Like they're going to be full. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. Everybody took the week off to get ready for this game. You're going to see the Eagles fully rested. I mean, I would think that Trent will be back and Pearsall will be back, which will help. They don't have Seattle's scheme, which is good. But it'll be interesting to see. The Eagles' offense has not been good all year. They take long naps during games. I don't care what game it is. Like long stretches where they're 3 and out. They haven't been good. Maybe with the rest, maybe they'll be better. Maybe they'll get some movement in the run game because they've really struggled. But you let this quarterback hold the ball. The 49ers have 20 sacks in 17 games. Like, they don't have pass rushers. And the Eagles know Bryce Huff. They had him last year. That's how he got to San Francisco. Like, he's their best pass rusher. And you can't overuse Bryce Huff. He's not an every down player. So it's just going to be tough. And, to lose Taylor Bethune like that last week, like, they're just so shorthanded that even the Eagles offense has a chance to kind of like get kick-started in this game.
Well, the Niners couldn't stop the run at all in the last game. And the safety play and the missed angles and not filling the gaps, Cleve Farrell not setting the edge and filling a gap on the big Charbonnet run. I'm very worried about Barkley and the run game for Philadelphia versus this defense. Like, I don't even know who's linebacking on Sunday, Baldy. Like, I don't know. I have major question marks on how this defense is going to be able to string together the prerequisite amount of stops to win this game.
Well, Kyle's got to coach a game this week, Joe, where you gotta to have possession and ball control. You got to limit Philadelphia to 8 possessions. All right, it's got to be up to the offense to control this game. All right, now they're going up against an elite defense by Vic Fangio. They know how to pressure you. Their favorite blitz is just the inside linebacker coming right downhill, right at Brock, and we'll see if they have some sort of answer for it. A lot of teams don't. But it's really got to be a Kyle Shanahan offense game. and you got to have 34 minutes of possession, and you got to have your 12 and 14 play drives, and you just got to leave Philadelphia's offense on the field and hope that they have a couple of their, first down, 3 and outs, which they led the league in this year. But if anybody thinks that Saquon's lost a step, they're crazy. Like if Saquon gets a runway, he's going to take it to the house. Like he's got 60-yard runs in him, like he had last year. I've seen it a couple of times this year. He just hasn't had enough looks at it. But if you give him that, he's going to finish the run. Like he just has that ability.
So you said the defense, Baldy, regarding Jalen Carter. He missed a month of the season. And I'm seeing a lot of Niner fans put out information like, hey, they were one of the weakest teams against the run this year, Philadelphia. And that's the statistics for the year. But where are they at right now? And you called them an elite defense. Why do you say that?
Well, they have all the pieces in place. I mean, Jalen Carter will line up over Puni. All right, they're going to put, Jordan Davis, like on top of the center. They're going to have Mora Jomo, over the left guard. They're going to play a reduced front. If you have any success running the ball at all, they'll take Zach Bond and put him outside as an outside linebacker and play a 6-1. And they're just going to squeeze every single gap that you have, and they're going to limit where you run the ball. They're just going to cover every gap at the line of scrimmage. That's their change up. That's what they've been doing for years with Vic, the last 2 years. And then, okay, if you want to go try to throw it against them, Quinyon Mitchell's a Pro Bowl player. Cooper DeJean's a Pro Bowl player. Like they've got elite, corners. Like the one corner that people have gone after, but he has gotten better this year, is Adoree Jackson. Like they've gone after him. But, the safeties are really, Reed Blankenship and these guys are pretty good players. Marcus Epps has really come in and played really well. They're 9 deep on the defensive line. They just rotate them through. They've got matchups that make it tough. Now, Chicago ran for 281 yards against them, and they were out of their gaps, and they got gashed really bad. It was the worst performance of the year, but it's really the only performance that was like that. It's kind of skewered a little bit. But Jalen Carter, healthy, is a dominant defensive player.
Talking to Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Roast. All right, so we saw some names last week, Baldy, that I've never even heard of. Number 49, Garrett Wallow, had to come into the game at linebacker. Obviously, Eric Kendricks, who was not the Eric Kendricks of old with the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, Fred Warner comes into your office this week and says, you know what, Coach, I know the doctors have said in a couple weeks' time, maybe the NFC Championship game, but I want to go out there this week. Do you put him out there? Do you protect Fred Warner from himself? Say, no, Fred, you got to take a play off. You got to take this week off, maybe next week. Do you risk getting Fred Warner back there for Philadelphia against the Eagles?
I don't know. I mean, that's up to Fred. Fred might do that and say, I'm ready to go, Coach. I don't know. Health is important. Fred's important. Like, I don't know if Curtis Robinson probably steps in and plays. I don't know. They said maybe if they get to an NFC Championship game, Fred could be ready. I kind of believe that timeline more than rushing him out there and risking, further or permanent damage. Like it's just like you can't do that to a player.